Hey Crestwood, happy Wednesday to you. Hope you guys are doing great today. What a beautiful day God has given us, and I hope you're able to use it to be out in God's creation, to find ways to serve God, to find ways to experience God. Every day has such potential. So hope it's been a good day for you so far and continues to be a good day for you. I am honored to be with you today and to bring you this devotional for Wednesday, March 13th. You remember where we were 4 years ago? March 13th, it was Friday of 2020. It's when the reality hit us that something serious was going on. The NCAA tournament had been canceled. We were getting all these reports of this new coronavirus that was affecting people. I was on a hiking trip on vacation and ended up cutting it short and coming back that day, that Friday, because I had been told that we were canceling worship for church on that coming Sunday. This was when the world shut down 4 years ago. How do you think about that time when you look back on it? It feels so surreal, doesn't it? First of all, how has it been 4 years since that has happened? Time has gone so fast. I remember all the emotions that time brought up for me as we faced a very unknown future. First thinking we were just going to be away from each other for a few weeks, and then that stretched for a few months, and then that stretched for 14 months that we weren't in church together. And I remember those first few weeks trying to figure out, how do we continue to be church in the midst of this very strange and very fearful environment? We tried live streaming, we tried drive-through worships, we did pre-recording our worship services. We ended up doing some outdoor worship services when the weather changed the next spring, before we were finally back in person Easter of 2021. And also think about how resilient we were in navigating that time. We were all forced to learn to live with these new parameters that were placed upon us. Quarantining in place, wearing masks, social distancing, all the things back then that felt like such a change to our normal lifestyle, and yet we adapted. We figured out how to continue on with life and with church in the midst of these very restrictive feelings. We learned a lot about ourselves as individuals. We learned a lot about ourselves as a church. We learned a lot about ourselves as a country. Not everything we learned was something that made us proud, but we persevered through that. And so as I reflect back on that day 4 years ago today, I think about the ways that God was present with us as we navigated this unknown territory, the way that God made it possible for us to continue to connect virtually. Who knew about Zoom at that point? Who had used it? And yet that became a primary way that we connected as a church. We had started live streaming about 6 months before the pandemic hit, and thank God we did, because we had at least some experience of what that was like. And as we learned and grew through that, we were able to provide more and more ways for us to connect through worship and through Bible studies and through Sunday school classes. And I'm just so thankful for that. All of that was a gift from God. God has given us the ability to be resilient. God has given us the ability to be creative, to think through problems and challenges in ways that we didn't know was possible for us. I mean, who knew a week before that's what we were going to be facing in 2020? And yet look at how we came through that. Not completely unscarred, not completely whole the way we were before, but we did come through into this new normal that we now live in. This devotional started because of Zoom, or because of the pandemic. I'm like, well, what's another way I can stay connected with the congregation? Let's start a midweek devotional. And it has continued on for 4 years since the pandemic. Amazing things have come out of that. And I look back on that time with a sense of gratitude for how God has worked through us to keep us connected, how God brought new people into the church through the pandemic experience, how God opened up within us an understanding of just what we can endure and what we can persevere through. I can't imagine a bigger challenge that the church has faced than what happened during the pandemic. And yet we're still here, and not just surviving, but thriving. And so I want to remember that time today and just give thanks to God. Give thanks to God for the way God worked through technology, worked through computers, worked through the creativity of people to help us continue to be the church in the midst of that time. Yes, the church building was closed for 14 months, but the church was not closed. we were still active and alive and doing God's work in this world. And so I'm so thankful for that. So today, my devotional is simply, thank you, God, for all that you have brought us through. Who knows what the future holds? Who knows what's going to happen to us next week? But we know from past experience that whatever it is, God walks with us through that, personally, as a church, as a community, as a country, as a world, whatever we face, and there will be difficulties ahead of us. God is with us as we walk through it. I give such thanks for that today, and I give thanks for you, Crestwood. God bless you.